All right, good morning. Welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mack on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com, the 1010XL app. A lot of great content coming right out of these 1010XL podcast studios. Show brought to you by Team Tommy Mack, of course. Just a group of businesses that I love endorsing, man. I do it on shows. I got a couple shows, social media, out in the streets, what have you. You can see my J-Dog shirt on today, veteran-owned and operated, great junk removal and hauling company. We'll tell you all about them a little bit later on, along with the rest of Team Tommy Mack. It's funny, right before we hit the air, Graham just like, gee, I wonder what we're going to talk about today. We all know what's going on. Congrats to Trevor. We're going to get into it. But before we do, let's say hello to Grammage. Grammage, how you doing, buddy?
Happy Friday, sir.
Yeah.
We normally do this show twice a week, and I enjoy giving you the Happy Friday more than the Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, you know, Tuesday's show was a fun show, though. We got into a lot of different
shows are
stuff.
Always great.
Yeah. But just it's a different feel.
No, it's just nice
you
to
did
say
come
Friday.
in with a spring in your step. We had your shades on. I saw you as you got out of your car.
Oh,
you
yeah,
kind of like hopping almost because it's Friday.
Yeah, I just love Fridays.
Yeah, Friday. And now with the great news, I mean, what a great Friday to celebrate, right?
Absolutely.
Locked and loaded, got our QB for at least the next 7 years, right? That contract doesn't kick in until, I think, 2025?
Yeah, I think it's next
or 26
season.
Maybe? Because they got the fifth-year option.
Yeah,
Does it replace the fifth-year option?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, so after his fifth year. But he did get $142 million in a signing bonus, which I was thinking last night because I was at the 904 Pro Show. Marcus Stroud was our guest. He was fantastic. Me and Bees at Graffiti. And it came across like in between one of the segments. And we were like, oh. And Marcus, his face was like, he's like, what? He's looking back at the TVs. He's like, what did he get? Like, everyone's just like, holy cow. And I saw it. I'm like, man, $142 million check. Like, I mean, what do you take? You take that to Chase Bank? You know, like, I mean, any bank would love to have it. Like, what do you do with that check? That's got to be pretty awesome feeling. Look, first and foremost, congrats to Trevor. Congrats to his family. I mean, hey, man, you can't play this game forever. That's like winning the lottery, and good for him. It's the market. It is. Now, they paid top of the line market. They paid him elite money. There's no question about that. And look, they're hoping he gets to that elite status. You know, he's shown glimpses of some of that, I guess, from time to time. But they believe in him, obviously. Hats off to the agent. I mean, reset the market, basically. And by the way, I mean, you know, if you're Mahomey, you know, you're Dak, you're like, hey, thanks, Trev. Appreciate it, right? You don't even, you got no Super Bowls. You got no MVPs. You got one Pro Bowl. You've done okay. I mean, what's Mahomey going to ask for? Are you kidding me? I'd be like, okay, I want that times 2.5, maybe. Right? You're going to give him that much money? Well, then you better come give me that much more money. But, hey, good for him. It's great that they got it done. It's great that it's out of the way. No more questions about it. The only questions that are going to be, you got to live up to it now, right? Now it's like, all right, you got your pass rusher, right? Locked and loaded. He's your guy. And Josh Allen, you got your QB. Right? You got two cornerstone positions that you have to have if you're going to really be successful. And now you roll with these guys, and now it's, you know, hey, man, you got to live up to it. You got to earn it all, and it's playoffs or bust. I'm not going to say Super Bowl or bust. I don't think that's fair, but get into the tournament or it's a failed season. And let's make sure we just play at a high level. That's what they're expected. I don't think they paid Trev for what he did prior to going into this year. I think that was part of it, but I think that he's shown enough to them that they're willing to take this shot. I mean, look, it's a great world for him to live in. He's getting elite money without playing elite. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, if you're Trevor, right? He's had flashes. I'm not saying that, but look, he hasn't played that elite kind of status. I got a list of the top guys, and we'll just kind of go through them a little bit later. But listen, I am happy for Trevor. I'm happy that they got this done, and I think for his family, look, that should be a great, great feeling. And now it's time to like, all right, now here we go. I don't want, and look, I know a lot goes into playing QB, but I don't want to hear the elite QBs carry their team. No matter what, they do. Don't tell me they don't, because they do. They carry their team. They carry their team when a star receiver's out for the game or out for the year. They carry their team when they're always under pressure. They carry their team when the run game shut down. So year 4, it's about that time. And I hope he does. I mean, I don't listen. The market's the market. You're not going to fight the market. They reset the market. So again, hats off to whoever the agent is. If we could find his name, that'd be great. But whatever. Great job by him and that firm, because you held tight to that. Be interesting to what Tua gets. You know, I mean, I'll take Trevor over Tua. I'm not saying that, but Tua's had, at least from a statistical standpoint, he's had, you know, at least last year, he's been injured too. Like, he's missed significant time. You know, Trevor has not, obviously, just a game here or there. What you got, Grammage?
Trevor's agent's name is Jay Corey.
Jay Corey, nice
of MGC Sports.
MGC, beautiful. Mm-hmm. That's a nice little commish.
I had an interesting stat I wanted to throw at you.
Yeah, throw it at me.
Just in terms of because there's been some debate on this. I think we disagree a little bit on this, at least beforehand. It doesn't really matter anymore because I signed it. But to me, the timing was perfect on when they paid him for a couple of reasons. You've got 3 quarterbacks that are in line to get paid. Jordan Love, Tua, and Dak Prescott. By getting this deal done before them, you're going to save probably $6 or $7 million annually by getting it, because those 3 are going to now leapfrog Trevor.
Yeah.
So if you waited, you'd have to leapfrog them.
Yeah, if he had a good year.
Well,
I'm just saying, if he didn't have a good year, he ain't leapfrogging nobody. If he had a year like he did last year, this would be
if you wait till
next
year, there's probably even more guys on that list.
Yeah.
I'm talking about just this offseason.
Right, yeah. Even though they reset it, it's going to be reset again pretty quickly. He's going to be the
highest paid. Trevor's going to be the highest paid guy annually for about 10 minutes.
Maybe
the next time, yeah.
No, you're right.
And then the other interesting thing, though, is it was good timing in terms of when the salary cap went up relative to when he's getting paid and kind of being slotted in before these guys like we're talking about.
Yeah.
SpotRack tweeted, SpotRack is great with contracts. Everything they do is awesome. Yep. Average salary percentage of contracts signing for quarterbacks.
Average salary percentage. Yes. Okay. So you got 142 out of the 275.
Basically, the question is
50% almost.
Basically, this is how much is this deal hamstringing you to build the rest of your roster? Gotcha. Trevor is 10th of the last 10 quarterbacks that have gotten paid.
Okay, good.
10th.
So it's a good deal for the organization.
Correct. Meaning that it was the time to pay him where you could pay him and have it take up the smallest piece of your pie.
Right. And the 142 gets split up by 5 years because it's a 5-year deal. And then it doesn't start till 2026, so you're not really getting those cap hits till then.
Right.
And the cap's going to continue to go up. Hey, look, billionaires pay millionaires, so that's a good thing. The $200 million guaranteed. Good for Trevor, man. We're going to go through it. I think, look, I'm happy for the fans. I know a lot of fans are, this makes you, I don't know, maybe it just makes you feel like, all right, he's our guy forever, and we don't have to worry about it. And, it's great. And going back to the organization, look, the market is the market. You make great points if you waited. What happens? I'm just like, look, these guys, the billionaires continue to make ridiculous amounts of money. The cap continues to go up. TV contracts are going up. Everything's going to go up. It's just the amount of money is just absolutely insane. So pay him $200 million guaranteed. Pay him $250 million guaranteed. I don't really care, to be honest with you.
The percentage of the cap is what matters to me, because
I know
whether that's more money, less money, whatever. It's what, because there's the rest of a roster to build out, and even if the savings is only a couple million a year, well, what if that couple million is Mitch Morse? What if that couple million is a guard? What if that couple million is another corner?
Well, we got to see Mitch play.
No, 100%. But
I'm expecting him to be a
for sure
player. But
the point is just that it gives you just that little extra bit of wiggle room to potentially go sign another key piece of your team.
I get it. But, look, you hear every year teams, we're $70 million under the cap. Somehow they find a way to get, or over the cap. They find their way out of the cap.
Sure.
They know how to manipulate the cap.
It's like during a game,
I think with that much time, you got 24, you got 25, then 26. You got time to absorb some of those costs.
You got to capitalize for sure. It's like in a game, getting 3 turnovers and scoring 0 points off of it.
Yeah.
You get it. The turnovers mean nothing if you don't score.
Right,
it's the same thing.
So what do we expect now? Out of Trevor? All right, deal's done. He's high. He's as high as Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, although has his own injuries, the wrist and the ankle or whatever, the calf, has been to a Super Bowl. Made a Super Bowl appearance. When he's healthy, he's one of the top guys. He's beaten Mahomes multiple times, right? They're both now at $55 million per season, based off the entire contract at $275.
Yeah.
Right? So what do we expect out of Trevor? We expect what? We don't expect the turnovers, 30 of them, right? Or 20 out of 30 that they had. The fumbles got to go away. The awareness has got to be better. More wins. Again, I know a lot goes into it. It's not just him. But like I said at the beginning, elite quarterbacks, they carry their team regardless. They make the receivers better. They make the targets better. They make them on time. They make them in the right spot. Even when they're getting killed, they're still marching that team down the field and putting them in position to score,
I'd say in a general sense, I think it's totally fair for the expectation to be far better consistency than we've seen so far in his career.
I agree with that.
Because even 2022, which was his best season, that season started slow.
Right.
And
the argument is they take from that time where he got going in 2022 to the time he got hurt in 20. You know what I mean? That's the argument. Well, look at this. You're like, okay, but it's still not a full season. It's not from start to finish.
Which is fine. But to your point, now that he's gotten paid, the expectation needs to be that I don't have to pick and choose timelines like that to show my QB being hyper productive.
Yep.
I need consistent play. I need his floor to be very, very, very strong still.
Yep.
And then I think in a more specific sense, I think that now year in, year out, it doesn't mean he's going to win it every year, but kind of like we were saying with Josh Allen, you expect him to be in the talks of Defensive Player of the Year. I think with 5-6 weeks left in the season, again, there are years where there's extenuating circumstances. I'm not saying literally every year, but probably more than 50% of the time now moving forward with these contracts, he needs to be in the conversation of MVP.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Typically 6 or 7 guys are in the conversation. This isn't meaning he has, I'm not saying he has to win it every year or whatever.
But the top QBs are in the MVP talk. Lamar, Patrick,
Josh.
Yes. Yeah.
He needs to be in those conversations.
Yep.
He needs to be, when there's 5 weeks left in the season and the NFL Network and the ESPNs and all those are saying who's going to win MVP, Trevor Lawrence has got to be someone's pick.
Yep.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that'll just be consistent play. And look, Doug's counting on this year 3 in his system, year 4 as a QB. He made a comment I saw, I think it was on Jaguars today. I apologize if it wasn't, but about what Mike Holmgren would say up in Green Bay when he was backing up Favre. It takes 3-4 years for a QB to fully develop, to be in an offense, to be in a system that you get used to and you get more experience with. You figure out the nuances. A lot of it is just figuring out what the defense is doing to that specific play and then finding a way to beat it, right? To beat that defense. So look, I think it's the hardest job in all of sports, to be honest with you. I think quarterback in the NFL especially is probably, I think hockey goalie's pretty damn hard too. I don't know how you even see those freaking things coming at you at the miles per hour they come, but
mentally it's quarterback.
Well, mentally and physically, because when you're getting the crap kicked out of your mind wanders. You know what I mean? It's like when you get tired, your legs fill up with lactic acid. You can't think. You can barely breathe. You're trying to think because you're all on instinct for the most part. And with quarterback, man, it's unless you're only going on instinct when you're in the system for so long, you just know where to go with the football.
And
your receivers do too.
And nowadays, there's an expectation for quarterbacks to have mobility and use their legs too. So even more so of a demand physically.
Yeah,
absolutely. They don't get hit as hard, but
they're still taking a pounding.
They still take a pound, and just what's expected of you physically. There's very, very, very rarely now statues that just sit back there and just dink and dunk and deliver like that. That didn't really happen much. You got to be able to run around some.
Yeah. And he does.
Oh, yeah.
He does.
That's when he's at his best. We talk about this all the time.
We talk about Trevor ball, right? It is. When he takes off and gets that first down, it's like stealing second base, or stealing third. And you're a guy with so much momentum, and then next thing you know, you're whipping it all around. So, look, it's a bit, regardless of the contract, it's a big year for Trevor anyway. Doesn't matter. Now, it does up the ante. I mean, look, if you're being paid elite, you're expected to play elite. Without any, this and that, and this guy dropped that, and this guy was out, and this guy, no, you got to, you got to play elite. It's all good because I think I know he's got the physical tools to play elite. The rest is really just the awareness and figuring out what to do with that football in really critical moments, and not turning the ball over. Interceptions happen. Like, I mean, look, Favre was 2-1, right? You're going to throw your interceptions. The fumbles can't happen. You got to know. You just got to, what is that? That's awareness, right? There's a clock ticking in my head every snap. Like, somebody's coming. I mean, somebody's coming eventually. Like, how fast is that? Depends on the defense you're playing, but it's coming. So you either got to do what? Get rid of the ball. Right? Make the throw, hopefully, or get rid of it, or get out of dodge to buy yourself a little bit of time to figure it out, or take off and run. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, so fast.
Or throw it away.
Well, get rid of the ball.
You're right. You're right. Trevor, he does not like to throw it away.
No. And taking what's given. We've talked about, those third down when the guy's wide open right over or at the first down marker and you're throwing a bomb deep. We all would love for it to work out and score a touchdown. What a glorious feeling. But you also got to take what's given to you. And that's experience, right? I never played quarterback, but I know it takes that does take time to see it all, right? But now that, look, at the end of the day, it's the expectations are big. This is we were talking about it last night even. If they're 8-9 and get into the playoffs, that's great. You know what I mean? I'd like a better record, but the goal is the playoffs. So however you get to the playoffs, I don't really care. It is funny though. We talked, and this was more off air, but we were talking, me and Marcus and Marcus Stroud and Bees. We were talking okay, so I said, I think I read somewhere where Vegas has got the wins at 8.5. And I'm like, well, what do you guys think, over or under? And they both hesitated. I was like, wait a minute. We just took care of Josh Allen, one of the top pass rushers in the league. We paid him like one. Now we got an elite QB that's paid like what? Aren't you? I'm going to knock that over. Aren't you? I mean, the playoff, you know what I mean? These are two big components of your football team. You hope Brian Thomas Jr. or Gabe Davis is third, right? Left tackle remains to be seen. Corner we'll still see, right? You know what I mean? I'm thinking, man, I'm expecting big things. I'm not expecting 14, but 10, win the division, get into the playoffs. And if you don't win the division, fine, just be a wild card in the playoffs. I don't care, because anything can happen, as we all know, in that tournament. But that's the expectation, right? Anything else is a failure, in my opinion. You can give me, they went 9-8 last year. Well, great. It still wasn't a great year. They should have been probably 12-5, right? And a stud in the playoffs, a tough out. Nothing better than being called a tough out in the playoffs. You know what I mean? You're gonna on the road, at home, whatever. This team you're gonna have to bring your A game, or you're gonna lose. That's that's the expectation. So, at least in my book, I don't know, man. No more excuse. It's over, and I'm happy for everybody. I am. I know you fans are happy, so that's good. Not all fans are. I know there are a lot of fans who are like, what are we doing? I had a buddy of mine text me. He's like, man, what do you he's like, I think it's crazy. I said, well, they're expecting him to be elite. That's why they're paying him Joe Burrow money. They're expecting him that he's going to take that step forward to be an elite QB in the NFL. That's why they pay him elite money. They didn't pay him elite money for what he did last year. They didn't pay him for what he did in 21. You know what I mean? 22 is a great year, but they're paying for that. They're paying him for now, for the future. Years, 6, 7, 8, 9, he's in his prime. Mature as all get out all over the place, you know what I mean? In the same system, hopefully. We'll see if that happens, but that's the whole plan, right? You don't want to start over. You don't know. You don't even know with Caleb Williams. You don't even know with any of these. Jaden, you don't know. I wish them the best, except when they're playing us, but you never know until you get them out there and see what they can do. So good for the Jags, good for the team. I'm sure his teammates are happy. I'm sure everybody's happy. So I think it's a fantastic day to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. No doubt.
I just decided this.
Okay.
Just now. I just decided I'm going to do this. Because Trevor got paid.
Okay.
I'm going to, and I know the contract doesn't take effect till next year, whatever, but he got paid. That's what matters.
Okay.
I am going to up the ante in my expectation for this season overall now.
Okay.
Just a hair. A hair.
Yeah.
I was with you that the expectation is just make the playoffs.
Yep.
Now my expectation is win the division.
Okay.
CJ Stroud is younger than you. You have gotten paid. He has not. I expect CJ Stroud personally to have a sophomore slump a little bit. I don't think he's going to suck or anything like that, but I think to expect him to be as productive as he was his rookie year is unrealistic.
Although they really built around him, defense and offense.
They did, but I will say it right now. I think the Texans are probably the most overrated team in the NFL right now.
Okay. Really?
I will say that.
Wow. Why do you say that?
Because I think, look, dating back to a season ago,
yeah,
I could probably have made the argument that the Jaguars were the most overrated team in the NFL. It just there's these teams that get a very, very small sample size of success, and then they're expected to be, the top contender against the Chiefs in the AFC. And I think what gets lost on so many people is going from a bad team to a good team is a hard thing to do. Going from a good team to a great team is near impossible. Only great coaches, great teams, great players do that.
Great culture.
Yes.
Yeah. That can handle success. It's all about handling success.
And people constantly fall into the trap of, this team was terrible 2 years ago and they made this big improvement. Yep. Now they went to the second round of the playoffs or what have you. Imagine what they'll do this year. They just need 1 or 2 more wins and they're in the Super Bowl. People don't understand that that's an even bigger gap than the first gap was.
Yeah.
So it's because of the expectations, not because I understand the Texans built the roster. I get on paper they look really strong. I understand that. I'm just saying this is not a franchise that has a sample size where I can believe that's going to happen. And with the Jaguars are the same thing. I'm not excluding the Jaguars out of this.
No, I know. I hear what you're saying. You may be jaded because of what happened to the Jags, right?
And I'm jaded because I want this to happen.
No, right. No, right. And it could.
I'll admit that.
I'll give D'Amico Ryans the benefit of the doubt right now. I think to me, it's all about making sure everybody understands that, look, the success was great, but we're starting from scratch. Like, we're back to zero now, and we've got to earn every single inch if we're going to be back in the same position that we were a year ago and maybe even better. You can't have, look, this, if you go back and look, and I think I said it on Tuesday or whatever I said it, you go back last year, this team was doomed like week 2, week 3, bad week of practice, believe in the press clippings, got to get out of town. You know what I mean? Like, that's not starting back at scratch. That's thinking, oh man, look at us, we've arrived. You know what I mean? We can have a bad practice against the Chiefs. We can just show up when we want. We don't have to put in the extra time. We don't got to study extra. We don't got to watch extra film. We don't got to come in on our off day. We don't got to go work out more. We don't, because we've made it. Look at us. And then they go away and they come. But we know the rest of the story, right? So to me, that's all culture. That's not skill. That's not ability. That's not scheme. And now, granted, the coaches can't get egos either, right? Thinking they're, all of a sudden, Mr. Wizard calling plays going to fool everybody and get this big play and big react. You know what I mean? You got to stay true to your scheme, true to your philosophies, and true to your culture. But I think if you build it right, you can handle that success. I mean, go back to 2017. They had great success. And I remember that whole off season I was saying, and I know other people were too, the key is going to be, can they handle that success? Can they? Can they go back to square one and start over and build that foundation once again? And they couldn't. They'd had 5 or 6 guys that were me guys, and all they cared about was individual stuff, how they were getting paid. Not just Jalen. Jalen was a ringleader. He's one of them. But there was a group that just did not want to be a part of that team first. You hear stories like Calais trying to talk to him. They would be like, not even giving him respect. I mean, it just snowballed out of control. And now, granted, things happen on the field, what have you. They weren't terrible in 2018, but man, they weren't very good. The defense was actually pretty good, but they weren't a very good team. So they couldn't handle the success, right? I don't know. We had 4 years in a row of success, starting our second year of existence through the 5th year. How'd we do it? We kept adding talent. We did, no doubt, absolutely. But we had the accountability. So I don't think it was there last year. I've said that many times, right? The imposter comments, not sitting guys when they make mistakes, yada, yada, whatever the case may be. But it's that culture's everything, man. So I think DeMeco, to me, I don't know him. But when I see his demeanor, how he's on the sideline, how he's in front of the press, I think he'll keep their head on straight. And that really is the key.
I don't disagree.
It really is.
I don't disagree with you, but we said the same thing about Doug Peterson last year.
We didn't know that they were going to be a train wreck going into the season. So psychologically, we had no idea.
But we
thought he had it all together.
Correct. Right. And I'm just saying that. Again, I agree with you. I like DeMeco as a coach. I think I'm not sitting here saying the Texans are going to win 3 games.
No, I know what you're saying. But chances are they do have a slump. There's no doubt. But I think he'll keep them all their head on a tight. It's
It's less about like anything Houston's doing wrong, and it's more about this is just normally how the NFL works. Normally, when teams have really, really lofty expectations relative to the year they did before, when the year before is the only sample size you have, it's a disappointing year.
Okay.
So you pair that with the fact that Trevor just got paid. He's been in the league longer. The team just committed to him long term.
Yep.
In my opinion now, and they're in year 3 in the same system, same OC, same head coach who's an offensive guy. He's
got to win the division.
I think they need to win the division. I think it's a fair expectation.
Let me ask you a question, sidebar. So what about a team that's normally in the playoffs? They normally get in the playoffs, but then they have a down year last year. They reloaded for certain spots. Talking about Tennessee, right? Do you think, what I mean, on that rationale of have success, can't handle it, falter? What about the team that had a ton of success, crashed, and now they're ready to build back up? What do you think about that? Like, are they going to be – I don't think you can sleep on any team. Maybe Indy, because AR is kind of the wild card. You know what I mean? Anthony Richardson. What kind of QB is – I mean, nobody has any idea. Yeah. You have no idea what you're going to get out of that offense and get out of him. And I'm sure they feel pretty good about him. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying you just haven't seen it. So they're probably the least of my worries. Tennessee, look, it's all going to come down to what? The QB again, Will Levis, right? CJ Stroud, Trevor. Just because Trevor got paid, I mean, that doesn't make him better automatically, right? I mean, it doesn't. But, same for him. Like, they got to, it's going to all come down to the play of the quarterback. And I guess in today's league, for the most part, it normally does, right? It normally does. Who can carry their team?
I don't believe in Anthony Richardson's ability to stay on the field. I personally just think that's going to plague him his entire career. So long as he is a starter and he is like the franchise guy,
yep.
I don't know that he'll complete a full season. The way he plays, and he already even in his young career, dating back to his high school days, he's already had a lot of injuries.
Yep.
He doesn't have a play style that caters to staying healthy. And when he's on the field, he's fantastic, and this dates back to Florida.
Yep.
But the problem is when he does play in a way to protect himself, he's not very good.
Right.
That's the issue. And that was the problem at Florida in 2022. He knew he had to stay healthy, and he wasn't that great of a player.
Yep.
The times where he would unleash, he was unbelievable.
Right.
But he's fragile.
Yep.
With the Titans are in an interesting kind of thing now because Derrick Henry's gone, who they built the team around, and Ryan Tannehill's gone. The the old and obviously the coach. Why am I forgetting his name?
Yeah, he's the new coach. I forget his name too.
Well, the new coach, yeah, but the coach that just left.
Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel. Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. Who's the new coach?
It's the guy from Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
And his dad's like the legendary O-line coach who's coaching their O-line now.
What's that?
His dad is like the legendary O-line coach.
Callahan?
Yes, Brian Callahan. Yes.
Because Bill Callahan is his dad. Okay.
Yes, and Bill Callahan is the Titans' offensive line
That's
coach.
right.
Yes.
That's right. Okay.
The Titans are
Brian
in this,
Callahan
is the son.
The son. Yeah.
Coach,
okay.
Yes.
Cool. Now we got it.
The Titans are in this interesting thing because they're moving eras now.
Yeah.
This is a new chapter of them.
It's a different style of football, right?
But look, man, if Will Levis has a 2022 Trevor Lawrence type of season, then he'll probably be getting paid in a couple of years.
Yeah,
which obviously they would love.
Yeah.
But I think with them being in this transition phase, new head coach, quarterback is still very young, didn't even play a full season last year. I believe when you've just paid the quarterback, you've just paid the defensive end, and you've made this commitment in Jacksonville, it is a fair and reasonable expectation that you beat these three teams.
Yeah. Now I agree with you. I'm just saying that I don't think it's easier said than done. I think they're going to be tough outs. Indy's the least of my concern. Now they got Flacco. They did that for a reason, right? And if he has any dust from last year,
if you
that gets him some juice, but they're the least of my concerns. But I think Houston and then Tennessee, we'll see.
If you had to place a hefty bet right now on the order of the AFC South when it's said and done this year, at the end of the regular season, what would you say right now?
A wishful thinking says Jags, but I got to be honest. I got to see this team. We haven't seen anything. You've seen them in shorts. They're saying the right things, that last year, set an example, they learned from it. Okay, I want to believe them. But, I don't know. Even with the additions, we're still talking about 9-10 wins. That should win it for you. But 10, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to come down to Houston and Jacksonville. I mean, it's hard. Look, are we going to beat Houston enough? Are we going to win enough in the division to win the division? Are we going to win enough to win the division? Are we going to? What are we? Are we going to sweep Houston? Are we going to split with Houston? Are we going to sweep Indy? I give you that. Tennessee is maybe a sweep, but I'd probably go 1-1.
I probably would too.
And then Houston's 1-1, and then it comes down to who do we have? We got the NFC North and the AFC East, right? Or AFC, yeah, it's the East still, right? The Jets, the Dolphins, right?
Yep.
And then we got Minnesota and Chicago, right? Yep. So that look, that's they're all going to be tough games for the most part, but I don't know. You got to beat the champs to be the champs. So today on June, it's Flag Day. Happy Flag Day, June 14th. God bless America. I'm going to say Houston wins, but in that scenario, Jags get in as a wild card. So that's how tight it's going to be. And hopefully they do. I mean, look, I hope nothing but this team to get back to some prominence, because there's nothing like, we all talk about it. 2022, how exciting was that season, right? That whole year, our whole city, even going into last year. And I know it was still a lot of exciting moments, exciting times. It wasn't like we were terrible all year. The collapse sucked, as we all know. And again, hopefully they've learned from that, and that's going to be in the rearview mirror, and they're going to go out there and earn it. I will agree, like, Ryan Nielsen's kind of like, he's making me feel like, okay, that whole accountability's coming back. I don't think Caldwell had much of it. I just don't think I don't think that's the approach. And I don't think Doug's a disciplinarian. And that's okay. I just think he's like, look, I'm going to show you how, and I expect you to do it, right? I'm not going to sit there hammering you. I'm expecting you to be a pro and that you're going to do it. Sometimes it works if you got the right players, the right culture that fit the right players that fit that culture and are good with carrying that message throughout the team. You know what I mean? So
we're in total agreement on this. The kind of a coach that's willing to be maybe willing to be bad cop a little bit within the locker room. Not even that necessarily, but you kind of get the point of what I'm saying though. Like just a coach that's willing to have an uncomfortable conversation when it needs to be had. A coach that at the end of a poor game is not going to say that those were imposters.
Yeah.
A coach is going to say, no, that was us, and it's not good enough.
I just want to coach, and I know, last year there's all this debate about, guys being out of position, guys running the wrong routes, whatever, right? And a lot of fans out there would say, oh, it's the coaches, it's the coaches, it's the coaches. And as a former player, I'm like, no, it's the player. You're the one out there. You have to know. You have to know everything about your position, and you should know what's going on around you. You should know that what the front's doing and what the behind you is doing in the secondary and the coverage. You should know, and every single snap. The coach ain't out there. He's not telling you exactly what to do after every play call. You've got to know that. Now, I get the feeling Ryan Nielsen will say, it is on me, but he knows deep down that it's on them. Because if they can't remember what's going on or they're not studying enough and they screw up, they're costing my defense points. They're costing our team points. So I just feel like he's going to have more of that there. Like, think about the, I always say, professional athlete, lead of the elite of the elite. You got the most tremendous job in the world, and you don't know what to do on every single MF and play? Are you out of your mind? Like, are you kidding? Like,
it's your job.
It's your job. Great job. It's your job. Like, how do you not do that? Now, again, coaches got to simplify it enough, got to make sure they know it, open door policy. But at the end of the day, it's on that player. I think Ryan Nielsen's going to hold him accountable, and I think it'll do it in a way that's opposite from Doug. I got to credit Coach Campo. He would tell me this. He's like, look, a lot of times things work. Head coach is one way. One of the coordinators is the opposite, right? Head coach is, kind of a player's coach. Hey, they're pros. Let them do it. The other one of the coordinators is, no, man, we're going to make sure they do it. I'm going to hold each one accountable. I don't care if they're stars. I don't care how much money they make. We're holding everyone accountable, and that's the way we're going to go. And it works. That blend can work, right? If you have the right players, which hopefully they do.
Part of this, bringing it back to the guy that just got paid. I know that Trevor, we know personality-wise that he's not a huge rah-rah, get-in-your-face type of guy.
Yep.
But I think part of the expectation adding on to him getting paid is dating back to the beginning of the season, like you always bring up how they had bad week of practice, whatever, reading press clippings, like unacceptable stuff, and that was on Doug last year. Moving forward, if things like that happen, that's also on Trevor.
Yeah, he's got to be. Well, Doug's saying he's become more of a leader this offseason, so that's good. He needs to. And the QB, you got to be the guy.
Once you're a QB in general, but particularly once you're a QB that the franchise has paid and invested in this,
right?
You have to become an extension of whatever culture the coach is trying to harbor.
Without a doubt.
So, again, to your point, moving forward, if we're reading press clippings, if we have to get away, if we have a bad week of practice, that's not just on Doug anymore. That is on 16 as well.
Absolutely.
Because it is his responsibility now. He's been here plenty long enough. Josh, too.
And all the vet. I mean, that's how you got to
But Trevor specifically as the QB, he's been here plenty long enough now. Yep. He has plenty of street cred to be in that locker room. And if people are not up to speed on things and not doing what they need to be doing, he needs to be the guy that's willing to be like, hey, man. That ain't good enough.
Right.
Or
without a doubt.
If we're having a bad week of practice, hey man, these guys will kick our ass for not prepared.
Not by the way, and I think Doug says it way too much. Yeah, we got to clean that up. We'll get it fixed next week. I mean, you hear that a lot. Like, I don't want to hear that from anybody.
I'm so sick of that.
Don't give me that crap. Fix it now, not next week. Hopefully it is not too much of that. Hey, I want to tell you about Team Tommy Mac. Of course, you got J-Dog Junk Removal. They take care of your junk. They refurbish it. They give it to military families in need. They're veteran-owned and operated. They also have a hauling business, contractors, home builders. Check out J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling, JDogJunkRemoval.com, 844-GET-JDOG. Chris Lucero's bail bonds, number one name in the bail game. You get thrown in the clink, he gets you out in a blink. I mean, it's true. I've seen it firsthand. He does a great job and will take care of you and your family. Check him out at 904-822-2245. Graffiti American Burger Bar, man, had some wings last night. Absolutely incredible. New ownership, new management, new menu, and a great place to go on Thursday nights, especially for the 904 Pro Show. Azar Sausage, find it in Winn-Dixie, find it in your local grocer. The andouille, the hot sausage, absolutely fantastic. Third generation, and homegrown and down home right here in Jacksonville. Carpet Man Flooring, LVP, man, carpet, tile, hardwood, highest quality, lowest prices every single time. Michael Nick, State Farm Agency. He's my State Farm agent. He should be your agent as well. Life, home, auto, and supplemental health. Him and his team always available when you need them. Code Ninjas, make sure you get your kid into camp or just learn. I mean, go get these certificates. Learn how to code. Learn about security. Learn about Roblox and Minecraft and all these great things for young kids. Hey, the future is technology. Get them going early. And you can as early as age 5 at Code Ninjas with 4 great locations. Family Tradition, Specialty Foods, home of Coconut Joe's hot sauce. They got a new one coming out that's going to be ultra spicy. Can't wait to try that. I'm going to be sending out a link where you can get a nice BOGO deal by just saying pound, or put it in there, pound Team Tommy Mac, and Salt Air Inn and Suites. Man, great spot to stay for a night, for a weekend. Come in for the week if you're out of town. 4 blocks from the Atlantic Ocean, some of the most beautiful beaches you'll ever see in your life. And just all in the vicinity of great restaurants, bars, pubs, shops, you name it, all right there in Atlantic Beach. They do offer concierge service. All right, so I do have to head to Jaguars today, but not quite yet, so I got some time. Real quick, Calais Campbell looks like he's going to the Dolphins, so better block his ass. You know what I'm saying? Game 1, block Calais. Please do not let him wreak havoc on our – and that, hey, look. By the way, offensive lineman, he's now the golden parachute, man. You cannot, nobody touches him. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? I mean nobody. You better have that attitude. This guy, he's like, I don't know. He's made a goal, but you break him and we're in trouble. You protect him at all costs. If I'm the owner, that's what I'm saying. My quarterback gets hit like last year, I'm not going to be happy. He got hit way too much. Some of his own doing, but way too much. All right, let's go through real quick, Gramish, because I was just curious. The top paid NFL QBs per season average based on the total package. Like, so Trevor is at $55 million a year based on the 5-year $275. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So Trevor and Joe Burrow are the top at 55. Okay. Goff is next at 53. Goff has had a resurgence, I think 30 touchdowns, 12 picks last year, went to the NFC Championship game. They feel like he's the guy. He's going to lead them. Take it as you will. Haybear at 52.5. He needs to bounce back, maybe with Jim Harbaugh. He does. Justin. I called him Haybear. Herbert.
Oh. I was like, who are you talking about?
Yeah, he's French. Herbert, yeah. Herbert. 52.5 million. That guy first 2 years was phenomenal. Last year, a little step down. We'll see if we get it back. Lamar's at 52. MVP. I'll say this. If you don't make it to the playoffs, just become the MVP. We'll be all right. If you're Trevor, right? MVP or playoffs, is that? Or both. That would be fantastic.
He's MVP and they don't make the playoffs. That means the defense has had a horrendous year.
Jalen Hurts, $51 million. I saw a little side note that people inside the organization have said he has changed since he signed that big deal. He's less accessible to the team, to his teammates, to fans.
Little Russell Wilson-y?
I don't know. Let's hope he can bring that back, because when he's on his game, he's dangerous, that kid. He can play ball. Kyler Murray, 46.1. I remember when they gave him this deal, I was like, why would you do that? We'll see. When he's healthy, like he's been injured, I just hope he's committed. Remember, he was going home playing Madden and all that stuff. Like, he wasn't really paying it. He was doing his prep on Madden. Like, what? They just gave you $190 million or $189 million guaranteed, and you're playing Madden instead of like watching film. I mean, that's...
It was Call of Duty, too. He was playing Call of Duty.
Was it Call of Duty?
Yeah,
I thought it was Madden. Anyway. Deshaun, $46 million. Now, his $230 million is fully guaranteed. He's the highest fully guaranteed. I think Trev's top 3 at $200. So, but if they gotten the money out of him? No. I mean, look, I think everyone we've named, you feel good about, right? If Burrow's healthy, you feel good. Goff, I think, look, I like Goff. I always have. I think he's only going to maintain at a high level, at least for a few years. Herbert, look, he's got everything, and I think with Harbaugh, he'll hone that in. Lamar, yep. Hurts, if he's on game, yep. Kyler's kind of iffy for me. Deshaun, no. Now, Mahomes comes in at 45. I said earlier, like, well, if you're him, like, what do you want?
We all knew when he signed his deal originally that
was a massive. They've reset the market,
and we all knew. But we all knew though that over the course of 10 years that deal was going to look like pennies,
right?
Probably about halfway, and it's probably getting close to halfway.
Yeah,
we're probably a year or two from it being.
Yeah, you're right.
It was a 10-year deal,
10-year, $450, right?
Yeah,
that's
and
the $45 million.
I think he's been under that contract, I think, for 3 years
He
now.
did restructure last year to get some up front. I read that, where he got some more guaranteed money.
Yeah. And they'll continue to, as long as he's that good, they'll continue to restructure, and they're going to give him whatever the hell he wants, as they should.
I saw a comment from him, like they're looking to go downfield a lot this year. More weapons for Mahomes and Holmes. It's just insane. Can they three-peat? Can we knock him off the grid? But he's at 45. Kirk Cousins at 45. I saw where Atlanta got penalized, a 5th-round pick and fined $250K, talking to Kirk too early. Wasn't that them?
Oh, the tampering?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Well, they reached out to him too early or what?
I mean, every team tampers.
They do. I don't know. Sometimes you wonder what the NFL's thinking.
That whole legal tampering thing, that's a weird system, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Josh Allen, $43 million. And then it goes, you got Daniel Jones at 40. Probably not. He's not worth that. Stafford's at 40. He's probably underpaid. I like Stafford. I always have. Dak's at 40. He's going to get paid. I mean, if you're Dak, what are you asking for? 60 a year?
If I'm Dak, I just saw Trevor getting 55. I'm going to say I want 57, 56, 57. And then if I'm Tua, I want 58, 59. And if I'm...
Man, I'd go higher if I'm Dak. I'd try 60.
Well, you could. And
right.
But that's why you pay Trevor now.
Yeah.
Because if Dak had gotten 60, then I got to pay Trevor 62.
Well, you think about all those guys. So Dak's going to get paid. If Roger bounces back, he's at 37.5. They may reduce it. Depends how much success he has. Josh Allen's at 43. You never know. Mahomes are going to redo his deal.
And then...
So you look at it in that aspect, the market, right? You could say, yeah, it's a good time because although he reset it or joined the reset with Burrow, it's going to get reset again, right? I still look. I want nothing but the best for Trevor and this team, and man, he's just got to show it. All right, he's just got to. They all do. They all got to show it. I made a comment on Twitter. I'm glad the offseason's over because the slobber fest can stop. I mean, guys running simple routes. Oh, let them cook. Look at them cook. I'm like, what are you talking about? Nobody's even on them. Like, it wasn't even that great of a pass or a great whatever. It was nothing. Like, but I guess you got to, you got to do something to get you through. We will get through another edition of Catching Up because we are done. How about that? I've got to head over to the Jaguars today with Demps and Fat Tony and Pockets. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Thanks to Team Tommy Mac. Appreciate all of you. Make sure, hey, when I share it, I do it on Facebook, Twitter, Insta, and LinkedIn, and I tag those businesses. And if you're looking for any, if they're there when you need them, click on it. You'll go right to their page. And you'll be able to see what they're all about. I want to thank all of them. Grammage, thank you, buddy. Y'all have a great weekend, and we will see you next Tuesday on Catching Up with Tommy Mac right here on 1010 XL's podcast platform. Have a great day and a great weekend. Peace.